at least in college, I used to be kind of uncomfortable talking to white people or non-Asian people. There wasn't like really, I couldn't find a connection. You have the 88 Rising people. Their whole crowd is mostly Asian. I haven't seen popularity or their growth expand past the Asian group. Like them being very public about their Asian heritage is what's putting them in a box. All the girls you ever dated were mostly white girls, right?
I didn't want to fall into the stereotype of I should date an Asian. Oh, you're an Asian guy? You'll never get like a blonde girl with blue eyes.
And we're back. Reset.
So, why is it you grew up your whole friend group being Asians?
Interesting question. I don't know, honestly. You know, sometimes I feel like when I think about that and how I like gravitate even here when I make new friends, they're usually Asian. I'm like, am I racist? You know? That question comes up all the time. And like, even at work, right? I told you, like, there's a lot of white people. Majority of my department, there's a lot of white people, right? Nothing against them, but that's just a fact. And my only friends there are the Asian ones. And I'm just like, me questioning myself again, am I racist? You know? I don't really know, you know. I feel like I wasn't always have a Asian friend group. Like when I started off in SJV, I feel like I had a pretty diverse friend group. I had like a bunch of white friends, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just remember Brian, who was Asian.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, this is when I say I had white friends, this is probably up to like maybe 7th grade. After that, though, it kind of just like faded, you know? Yeah.
Well, for me, growing up, I didn't really hang out with a group of Asians. And I know why. I kind of like purposely meant to do that.
What was your purpose?
Because I saw other Asians and they'd always hang out with other Asians. And I thought to myself, I was like, I don't want to do that. And I feel like a big thing that stemmed from me as a child was like to like be cool with the other people outside of Asians, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, with Asians, there's a relatability and comfort with that, which is maybe why you stem to that.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, it was like more like a rebel thing for me. I was like, I want to be different and I want to hang out with I want my friend group to be United Nations, you know? Like, I purposely went on my way to like not be in the Asian groups, you know?
Interesting.
It's weird. And I was like cool with the Asians, but like, yeah, I wasn't in their clique though.
You purposely didn't do that. That's interesting. You're not the first person I've heard that. I mean, in high school, I mean, there was always like a couple Asian kids who didn't hang out with Asians because it was the same reason. They kind of wanted to have a diverse group.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's this some part where they just didn't relate to it, where like they kind of they related or they fell in with like, for example, I feel like I find there's usually that one Asian person who hangs out with a lot of white people. And that's, I could see why. Like, let's say if this Asian person plays golf, if this Asian person happened to love football, if this Asian person loved to row crew, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy kind of does things that a lot of white people do. So it kind of makes sense to why he's hanging out with a lot of white people. And I can't really be mad at him for that, you know?
Yeah. And then, you also, you also hang out with the people where most of whatever kind of race there is in your neighborhood, you know?
That's true.
You know?
But you know, some people bring out that like Dante told me that he grew up with like a lot of white people and friends with a lot of white people, and then met me in college, ruined his life. Now he's friends with all Asians.
He's like all Asian crew. That's
all
it.
Asian crew, yeah.
It's funny because it's like all or nothing. It's like either all white or it's all Asians. Like nothing. Yeah, but it's interesting. I don't know. It's like for me it was more a rebellious thing, and maybe because I didn't feel maybe connected to our culture.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I mean, going back to the food stuff, like you know, you didn't connect with Filipino food, which kind of made you feel like an outcast Filipino. So I could see how that's another reason why you really didn't gravitate towards the Asian people.
And also, I wanted to kind of like fit in. So, you know, like the whole stereotypical thing you see in movies where kid brings his ethnic food and then the white kids come over like, ew, that smells bad. You know?
Yeah.
I felt that way and I wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
So maybe there is like a thing to that as well.
Do you think you were only in that fit-in mindset when you were like really young in like primary
Yeah.
school?
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense. Because
Yeah.
I feel like maybe by high school, I feel like you weren't really in that phase. I think you just happened to be in a friend group that was kind of diverse, right? It was Leo, who's
Mexican and
Mexican,
Ecuadorian, yeah.
Ecuadorian, and then Mookie, who's white.
Cuban and Irish.
Oh, Cuban and Irish. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like you just fell into that. But I feel like me looking outside, another reason why you didn't really hang out with Asians too much is that a lot of Asians don't really go into the creative field because they're all being nurses, being accountants, engineers, like
that's
all
true.
the money making stuff,
Yeah. But then also like my group of friends in grade school and high school weren't creatives either.
That's true.
Like, but I think that there is something to that too. I just never really felt accepted. I never didn't feel like I got like the invitation.
Was there a whole Asian group at Berkeley?
Actually, no, not really.
Yeah. So, because like for me, right, I think I had started hanging out with a lot of Filipino people back in high school.
Yeah.
But it went max when I went to college, right? And I could see how that didn't happen for you because I couldn't imagine too many Asian people going to Berkeley College of Music, you know?
There are definitely Asians there, but like you're right. I never really noticed like an Asian clique at Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we all had like a common thing. We're all musicians and all that. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then even when I think back to grade school, I couldn't think of an Asian clique like back in first grade to like even 8th grade. There wasn't like Asians that hung out with each other.
Yeah.
It's like a small Catholic school, so it was just like a mixed bunch of races and yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool how when you moved to LA though, you found this random not random, but like I'm like, dude, this guy has Filipino friends. I remember when I first came to your apartment, I was gonna meet your roommate, and then I was gonna meet all your friends. I was like, well, these guys are all Filipino and Asian. This is weird for Mick. Like, I feel like I'm in my bag. I don't know about him.
I've noticed that too, where I was like, it's interesting later in my life. I started to hang out with a lot more Filipinos and Asians. And I think it was because I was looking for a comfort thing. Because in LA and being a music producer, like sometimes I didn't feel like I had friends because I always treated, a lot of people say we're friends and stuff, but to me it was like work. Right. You were my work friend.
Going back to that conversation about like being fake and stuff. Yeah. On that.
So I felt like I wanted something with more comfortability, or I wanted friends that I didn't work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just so happened that my whole Filipino crew, like even they're also from Jersey, but more from South Side, and they're from Albert Side.
Exactly.
And I just started hanging out with them more because I just wanted that familiarity.
I think that's dope. I mean, like you were hanging out with them a lot before.
Yeah.
I remember.
And I grown to love them, and like I would call them my closest friends out here.
No, that's dope that you were able to find that.
Yeah.
I wonder for me if I'm ever gonna find like maybe like a completely non-Asian friend group. Like I wonder if that's ever gonna be in the cards for me.
Who knows, dude?
I mean, I feel like I have so many different friend groups here. So that could change.
But what I love about Asian friend groups though is the one or two non-Asians they accept in.
Oh my God!
I love that.
Do you have one in your current, like the current Filipino group out here that you can name, or because I have one person I have in mind.
Oh, for me, it's probably like it's either a girlfriend or boyfriend.
Okay, gotcha.
For probably Sarah's one of them for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. She's the non-Asian girl in the all Asian group.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Who's for you?
Pat Harrington.
Oh yeah, that's true.
True.
I feel like there's another guy too, a Spanish guy or something.
Spanish guy.
I forget.
Oh, are you talking about Sweeney?
Yeah.
Sweeney. Yeah, he's half. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. It's probably. I think he's half Puerto Rican and half black.
Yeah.
But I might get that wrong. But yeah, it's funny. I always ask him. I was like, dude, have you always hanged out with the Filipinos? He's like, yeah, I've always hanged out with them. I've always had a thing for them. I was like, oh, okay.
Always had to what?
He's always had a thing for Filipinos.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, Pat is probably one of the most recent additions, but yeah, he was cool. I mean, like I've like hanged out with him. Like every time I saw him back in college, and then like before I moved over here, it would always be like, "Oh, hey, dude, nice to see you." But
Mhm.
like when he started going to Coachella, that's when him started getting really close. It was like, "Oh, this is like a
Ah.
yearly thing. We're gonna see each other."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. But I mean, like, yeah, Pat's just one of those guys where he's very easy to get along with. And then I see him on the stories back home, like on
Mhm.
social media,
Mhm.
and he's hanging out with all these other Asian people that
Mhm.
Dante introduced him to. And
I
like,
love
yeah,
it.
there's always that one like white guy who's like the coolest fuck, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is interesting.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just how the cards laid out for me, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, and then you also like all the girls you ever dated were mostly white girls, right?
Oh yeah, that's another thing
Yeah.
where it's like, all right, so it was another. I didn't want to fall into the stereotype of
Mhm.
I should date a Asian,
Mm.
you know. And I feel like I've always been told growing up that like, oh, you're an Asian guy, you'll never get like a blonde girl with blue eyes, or
Mhm.
you're gonna end up dating an Asian girl,
Yeah.
or you're never gonna
Mhm.
date outside your race. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like I don't know what fed me that.
Mhm.
No one's ever like said that to me to my face, but
No, there is
something.
that notion though that's very public, you know? Yeah.
There's something that I don't know was telling me that, and I
No,
was like,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong.
No, no, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you feel I think you're justified in that because there's definitely like a notion about that.
Hmm.
Times are changing for sure, but I get why you were kind of motivated by that because
Yeah.
I feel like that's just you. Like when someone tells you can't do something, you're like, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it. Yeah,
Oh, that's always like been a big motivator for me.
yeah,
And at a certain point, I also want to date girls that were taller than me
yeah. I
because
remember. Yeah,
I want people to think like how and why,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That's true.
It's
That's
so
true.
weird, but
Yeah,
I feel like I grew out of that. I feel like that was just like a it was just, things I had to deal with,
yeah,
And I
yeah.
learned like they weren't really for the right reasons, but I had to go through it to learn.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, to be honest, you ended up dating the coolest white girl I've ever met in my life. So
Yeah, she is pretty cool.
she's pretty cool, I will
Yeah.
say, and she's very
Yeah.
cultural, well-rounded. I will say
Oh
that.
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like because of her, I know all kinds of art outside of music, which I
Yeah,
love so much.
yeah. For me, I feel like most likely I'm probably gonna end up with an Asian girl, or if not,
Hmm.
probably like a Latina Mexican girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been thinking about that a lot, and I really just feel like it's just down to like how you grew up, and I feel like
Mm,
uh family. It's like Latino and like maybe even Mexican like
yeah.
cultures from what I've seen is like very family
Very
oriented.
close to and then very close to Filipino culture too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
Most of
they
them grew up
even
Catholic, like
even if you walk around here, you see like the big parties. It kind of
hmm
reminds me of like going to our tita's house
yeah,
every
yeah,
Saturday for the pool.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. But I wouldn't mind dating a white girl either.
You just gotta get out there and
Yeah.
start dating.
That's it. Oh, a fun fact on that though, because I feel like we were talking about last episode, kind of like
Hmm.
updating our lives. I have been swiping.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but I have been getting matches, but I just don't have the balls to send a message. And then by
Why?
like 1 week, they're gone. I'm
You
just like,
gotta
"What?"
always think like the worst they could say is no.
Yeah, I know.
So you
Yeah.
just gotta shoot.
Yeah, but all the matches have been white girls. So it's like,
There you
oh,
go. There you
okay.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta shoot your shot. You gotta learn how to like be okay when they say no. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
And like I feel like this is something weird for me to talk about, but I feel like I used to be really uncomfortable. At least in college, I used to be kind of
Mhm.
uncomfortable talking to white people or non-Asian people.
Oh
Not like
wow.
not like first interaction. Like obviously I could like coexist and like if I work with them in like a project, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I felt like I could never really like talk to them about other stuff or like kind of get close to them.
I feel like when you talk to them that you felt that they're seeing you with like chopsticks on your head or something.
Not really. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't say chopsticks like that. Like they were looking at me like derogatory, but I just felt
Mhm.
like there wasn't like really. I couldn't find a connection.
Mm,
But I think that's changed ever since I started working in a corporate setting
yeah.
because like I'm
And
pretty
also,
much forced to
yeah.
do
And you
that.
think about it like this, like you couldn't find a connection, but you didn't even say a word to them.
Yeah.
So you
No, that's
gotta,
true. That's
yeah.
true. I mean, I've always been kind of. I don't know why Yeah, I guess I've been scared of them even in high school. Like I was scared
Yeah.
to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's why I always gravitated towards like talking to Asian people. But no, yeah, I mean, like ever since I started working in the corporate world, I feel like I've been coming like sometimes a social butterfly with them, where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I could
yeah.
talk about them with stuff easily, and I'm very easy to work with them.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, it's been good. And then also like I just found out like sometimes you just need to have a drink and then everyone loosens up and then we
Yeah,
all be
yeah,
friends, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I hope what I was trying to do when you took me to your client meeting
Uh-huh.
was to kind of like show you lead by example.
Mm.
I'm just talk to people I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like a thing for me that helps a lot is like you kind of like you're talking to this person brand new, but just pretend
Mhm.
like you've known them for like 10 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh no, no. I think I'm pretty good at talking to new
Yeah.
people now. I mean, moving here just forced me to do that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Asian friend groups are interesting. I mean, it's definitely that thing. The reason why I gravitated towards them was just because, like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, we grew up the same and we have similar interests. Like, yeah, I could
Mhm.
talk to like the non-Asian people at work, but like
Yeah.
it does hit a roadblock at one point where like
Yeah.
they're talking about like reality TV shows and The Bachelorette
Mhm.
and what's on Bravo, and I'm like, I have no idea of any of those topics, right?
Okay, but like what is the commonality when in an Asian friend group? Like
We're usually listening to the same music, so we could talk about like our
oh.
favorite R&B artists that are out right now. We can even talk about raving when I feel like it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, Other things that we could talk about. Oh, you know what? Me and my my former coworker at work,
Yeah.
we were talking about this because like why we don't really get along with some of the people in our department.
Uh-huh.
And like one of the big things is that like humor, right?
Yeah.
Like I love joking about like my trauma sometimes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's fun to make a joke. Like you've done it before too, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to like when I say it in front of like white people, they're like, "Oh my god, that happened." And I'm like, "No, no, no, that was a joke. That was a joke. It was kind of true, but it was a joke, you know?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like sometimes they don't really get it and then it just gets really awkward. I'm like, "Okay, no, I shouldn't have said that."
But
Yeah.
as long as you say it's a joke, then they know it's a joke,
Yeah, but then it's just like they're just like, "Oh, that's a weird joke," you know?
Oh my
Yeah, but what
god.
with like for example, I have like this coworker who fuck. She's a Latina for sure. I just don't know if she's
Mhm.
Mexican. But like she laughs at all my like jokes about like, "Oh yeah, like might as well go like I don't know, you can't even think about." But like just
Mhm.
talking about our parents' trauma, like we could joke
Yeah.
around about that stuff
You
and
guys banter.
she'll yeah, banter,
Yeah.
really good banter, yeah.
Mhm.
So like I think it's just that element of like kind of like, I don't know. I again like feeling like I thought I was racist towards white people because I never hanged out with them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's just similar interests and then the way you grew up and the way you interact. That's why I don't really
Yeah.
have too many, you know?
And I feel like the work environments you're in, it could be a lot more sensitive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
you guys got like HR people,
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is nuts.
That's true.
Yeah.
there are some things that we can't say, so that is a good point.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like in a music studio, in a studio session, like, yeah, it could get weird, but it's not like we're gonna report you to HR. You
Yeah.
just don't work with them again.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, if I had that thing where I could only be in Asian friend groups or that was my tendency,
Mhm.
it would not work in the music
Oh
industry.
yeah, no, no.
No, unless I was like only doing like K-pop or something. But
That
not even in when people who do K-pop music, it's not all Asians at all.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like it's still the same mixed bag.
You know what I've been thinking about a lot?
Hmm.
And like I'm gonna try to tread carefully on this, but like
Hmm.
this like the stuff that's been happening with Shay Mitchell.
But who?
Shay Mitchell, Pretty Little Liars girl. Have you
I don't
not heard
know.
about this?
I don't know anything
Oh, okay.
about
So
this.
pretty much she's
Wait, what
like,
is Pretty Little Liars?
oh, it's like this old like TV show
Okay.
with like these four really hot girls,
Okay.
right? It was a good show, like it was a good story, but like there's one girl, Shay Mitchell, right?
Hmm.
She is Filipino American from what everyone's telling me.
Okay.
And apparently she's posted about her being Filipino American. But
Uh-huh.
recently on her reality show or some kind of show that she was on, she like when someone asked her, or no, she was talking about how she gets drunk. She was like, "Oh yeah, I get that from my dad who's half Irish, and then my mom who's a Latina." And everyone got mad because she's like, "Why is she saying she's a Latina? She's Filipina."
Oh my god.
Yeah, everyone got mad at her. Everyone's like, why is she like so ashamed of her Filipino heritage?
Yeah.
And like it got me thinking, right? Like, let's say she did like kind of just like bounce it, like she didn't want to say she was Filipina.
Yeah.
Why did she do that? And I'm thinking,
Hmm.
like, I'm looking at all like the let's say celebrities that are famous in the Asian community
Hmm.
and that like kind of like are very public about their Asian heritage. Sometimes I wonder if like putting their Asian heritage and the front forward of it is like kind of putting them in a box.
She's an actress?
She's an actress. But like
Maybe? I don't know.
yeah, well like
Yeah.
all right, like let's say like looking at the 88 Rising people, right?
Yeah.
Like their whole crowd is mostly Asian and like I don't know, I just feel like I haven't seen them, at least their popularity or their growth expand past the Asian group.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to their talent, but like just thinking about it from a business wise, like what happens if like oh my god, it's so weird to say. What happens if like them being very public about their Asian heritage is what's putting them in a box?
I don't think are they that public with their Asian heritage?
Yeah, I
Like
think so.
besides like being on camera and being Asian, like
I think so. I feel like, for
I'm
example,
not too familiar like
oh,
with the music, but I know you were like you went to the festivals and stuff.
yeah. But
Yeah.
like, let's say, like, I think Nikki's a great example. I feel like
Mhm.
she's always like in her music videos and then in her interviews too, she's always, like preaching how she's a Indonesian artist.
Mhm.
And like that's cool. Like I'm totally for like promoting your heritage, being proud of that if that's
Mhm.
like what you make part of your identity.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's like when she says that, like the whole world just sees her as an Indonesian artist and not an
Oh.
artist. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, most of the music industries, the top ones are like their ethnicity is white or black, but like,
Mhm. Or like mixed.
or mixed, right? And like
we have big Filipino stars, right? Like
yeah.
Bruno Mars,
Yeah.
half Filipino,
Mhm.
her half Filipino.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so
Mhm.
here's my thing, right? Bruno Mars is a great example, right?
Mhm.
Like I didn't really know he was Filipino, and like now that I think about it, I don't really
Mhm.
hear him saying like, "Yeah, I like lumpia" or "I like sinigang," right?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if like because, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great artist, but I'm wondering like because he wasn't so going so strong, like Filipino,
Yeah.
like he was able to become like this big star that he is, you know?
Wow, that's a good observation.
It's honestly almost like a hot take because I feel like people are gonna be like, "Oh, so you're saying that artists should like hide their ethnicity?" And like, no, that's not really what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm
yeah,
just saying
yeah.
like, what happens if they just like they could definitely be proud of who they are, but like, what happens if their music and artist identity didn't include just being Asian? Maybe it's like that's just not like I think of you, right?
Yeah.
You know how you're saying that you were really part of the Asian group.
Yeah.
Like maybe like your Filipino heritage isn't part of your artist identity, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never made it a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good point. But I think with the 88 Rising, like it would just so happen that, well, one, they turned out to be like an Asian clique.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Asians saw that, like, oh, us Asians can be like big in music too. And they
Oh.
just gravitated towards that, you know? And it just so happens like their fan base, the majority of their fan base is Asian, you know?
Just so happens, but I feel like it was just I really feel like it was marketed that way. And like that's not bad.
Maybe, yeah.
That's not bad. Like I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's a bad thing. Like there's definitely a good part to that because one, you're giving like Asian artists a chance to make money off of their music.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder, it's like, oh, like did that potentially cut them off from a bigger market?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this from really business
No, you're right
wise.
though. You're right. Because
Yeah.
it would be smart to target Asians first.
Yeah.
You know, because then you capture that and then you just expand. You
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, because like Bruno Mars, and then another example who's one of my favorite artists is Dominic Fike.
Yeah.
I've only seen one fan video, or I don't even know if it's a fan video, but like this guy made a video about Dominic Fike when he just started coming out.
Mhm.
And he said like really briefly, oh yeah, he's half black and half Filipino.
Oh, I didn't even know.
And I feel like, yeah, exactly. I feel like some people have been like, when they post them, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
Filipino artist. And like, that's cool. But like, I've actually never seen him say like, oh, I'm a Filipino American. And I feel like there's parts to it. And I can't speak for him, but I'm wondering the reason why is one, he probably doesn't identify as much with it because maybe he just didn't have a Filipino community.
Yeah.
And then two, it's like maybe his music also doesn't really fit in with the typical Filipino American crowd.
Yeah.
Like when I look at Filipino Americans, it's always like hip hop and R&B, right? But with him, his is like more of like a rock pop kind of music.
Yeah.
And like I don't really see that in the Filipino American flavor.
Yeah.
A taste, you know?
I get that. I feel like what it is like maybe he didn't identify it because, you know, when you're a mixed race, I feel like you're closer to one than the other, depending on the parent, you know, what influenced more. But on the other side, like her, she speaks about being Filipino all the time.
That's true. That's true.
And she's pretty big too.
No, that is true. You do have a good point. Like she has a song with Saweetie.
Yeah.
And I think they made it like a Filipino cover too, but you're right. Her is definitely one of the biggest artists out there too. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
But it would be interesting to see like a 100% Filipino pop off, like someone like Bruno Mars too.
Yeah, like 100% Filipino. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've seen that yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. I could be wrong, but
yeah.
But it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, something I've been thinking about a lot, especially for this episode.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Would you like, let's say if you started getting big, would you be like putting like Filipino flags on your album covers or something like that?
Not that extent, because I don't feel like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Attached to the culture, because you know, it's going back to the Filipino food thing. You know.
Yeah.
After you open my mind in that episode, like I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'd mention it. You know,
Yeah.
Someone was like, I don't think I could ever be like, oh, so what's your ethnicity? I'm Latino. no, I could never do that.
I'm a Hawaiian.
Yeah, but I do like a lot of people like ask me when I do sessions with them. First time meeting them, they ask what my ethnicity is, and sometimes a lot of them can guess it's Filipino, but sometimes my hair would confuse them because how curly it is, and then like. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is interesting. I kind of like that mystery sometimes.
Me too. I love it. I love it.
I feel like my look is not as mysterious. Yours, yes, I can understand why people are like, is he black? Is he Mexican?
Yeah. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that because I don't know, it's fun. I always tell them, guess.
Guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I feel like the ones that do guess it right, or they knew, like I'm like, oh, you're a Filipino, like they don't ask them what you're, and they say, yeah, you're Filipino, right? A lot of them like had a lot of Filipino friends growing up, or you know,
true, that's true.
Like I noticed like a lot of people here in LA and like in California in general, since there's so many Filipinos here, like they could guess off the bat. But people I've worked with, like from the Midwest or even like in the South, like they have to ask, you know.
Yeah, I'm wondering if my Asian, because a lot of my work friends who are Asian, I wonder if they could guess if I was Filipino. Only one of them did, but it's only because she was a Filipino. So, yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get it wrong too when I'm walking around. I'm like, he's Filipino. Like, but it's like close. Like they're either like, you know, Indonesian or Thai.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. Asian friend groups.
You know it.
All right, guys. Peace.
Oh.